We at Fronius, we are doing premium quality for our premium products for premium customers. We not only expect our products to look good and to feel good, but that also this quality pays off in the long run. A very warm welcome to this webinar today, why premium quality pays off. We are taking a look at our commercial product, the Fronius Tauro, and I will show you why premium quality at the Fronius Tauro, how this pays off in the long term and helps you saving money. As always, I'm not alone. My name is Maximilian Schett. I will guide you through this webinar today. And by my side, there's my colleague Christoph. And as always, Christoph will take care of your questions. If you have questions, please feel free to ask. Just use the chat function and Christoph will answer them while I am speaking. After the webinar, I will also do a quick Q&A session. I will look at your questions and we will discuss the most important ones together. What is the plan for today? So first of all, I want to show you the portfolio Fronius offers for commercial PV systems. This is, as I said, the Tauro, but also the snap inverter series. Then we will do a quick digression into business economics, and I want to explain some words and some terms in the literature of cost and revenue and what we would like to, how we would like to maximize revenue and how we would like to minimize costs. Then we will go into the Tauro. I will show you the feature the Tauro offers and will show you how this maximizes revenue and minimizes cost. And in the end, we will do, I will show you a case study we did. So we took a PV system of one of our clients and compared our product to the competitor's product and did a cost comparison. The digression into business literature or business economics perhaps is a bit more complicated. Please don't worry. After the first two parts, after business economics and after I explain the features of the Tauro, I will do a quick summary that sums up the most important points. So even in these first two parts, if you do not get all the things, no worries. We will summarize it in between. Okay, so I will say we are ready to start. And as I said, we will do this by me showing you our portfolio we offer for commercial products. This is basically the snap inverter series and the Tauro series. And in the snap inverter series, we have two products on offer. This is the Fronius Eco that is available in 25 and 27 kilowatt. The Eco always at Fronius stands for a cost and weight optimized product. So as you can see, the Eco has a reduced range of MPP voltage. On the other hand, it is a little bit cheaper and weighs less than the other products. And then there's the Fronius Simo Advanced. This is a little bit smaller product, is available between 10 and 20 kilowatt and has an MPP voltage range of 200 to 800 volts. Please note that the Simo Advanced has already the arc guard installed. What is the arc guard? The arc guard detects arcs. Sorry, I was looking for the English word. Detects arcs and is protecting the device from those arcs. And besides the snap inverter, there is the Tauro series, and the Tauro series is again available in a standard version and in an Eco version. And again, the Eco has a reduced MPP voltage range and is a bit cost optimized. The Fronius Tauro is available in 50 kilowatt size, the Fronius Tauro Eco in 50, 99 and 100 kilowatts. Now let's get to some business economics. I want to show you the basic concepts of costs and revenue. This is something you might already know, and that is, I would say, more or less predictable. However, it also feels good just to memorize these concepts, and as I said, then we can put the Tauro into context. So what is the basic concept? Very simple. The profit calculation goes as follows. Revenue minus total costs equals profits. Naturally, we want to increase revenue as much as possible. We want to decrease costs as much as possible so that in the end, profit is maximized. How can we maximize revenue? This is straightforward. So the longer our product is working, so it's say instead of 10 years, it is running 20 years, then of course there's more revenue, and also the running hours are important. So if the product gets too hot very easily and it needs to be shut down, then the running hours are minimized, revenue is minimized. Regarding total costs, the situation is a bit more unclear, and that's why we go a little bit deeper here. So we can describe the total costs as capital expenses plus operating costs. So those two things together, they equal our total costs. Capital expenses sound a bit complicated, probably it is, but it gets more easier if we are using the word investment costs for it. So capital expenses is everything that needs to be bought for installing the PV system. What is that, for example? These are the labor costs, so the workers that you need for building up the modules and installing the inverter. It also contains of module costs, of course, inverter costs, of course, and BOS costs. What are BOS costs? BOS costs are so-called balance of system costs, and those costs, those contain of or consist of all the costs you need that the system is running except for the inverter. We will go into this in a minute because those are the most important costs we have most influence on. The operating costs, we can also say those are the continuous costs. So those that occur while the product is already installed and while the PV system is running. So those costs, they consist of exchange costs of certain parts, reparation, of course. So if something breaks down and it needs to be changed, then costs occur, but also costs occur because the system is not running during this exchange time. So those are all costs that are occurring while the system is running. And not to forget data analysis. So we are doing this with SolarWeb. So all the analysis tools you need for analyze consumption and production, there are also softwares needed, and sometimes this software also occurs costs. So investment costs plus operating costs are total costs. And now let's go one step deeper into this capital expensive and look at those mysterious BOS costs. These are the capital expenses. Maybe let's take a look at this before. You see, give me a second. You see, as I said, they consist of module costs, labor costs, inverter costs, and also balance of system costs. We see that the inverter costs, they are only 9% of these capital expenses. So this is a very low share. The largest share are the PV modules, followed by the BOS costs, and followed by the labor costs. As an inverter producer, we do not have influence on the module costs, and neither do we have influence on the labor costs. What we have influence on are those BOS costs. And this is what I wanted to explain before. So let's go deeper here into these BOS costs and look what those costs consist of. And the balance of system costs, as I said, those are the investment costs beside the inverter. So they consist of the mounting frame, for example, AC-DC cabling and combiner boxes, cable trays, or mains connections. And again, we did a calculation to see the percentage share of each of those things, and you see this on the right-hand side. So mains connection is the biggest part, followed by the racking system. Cable trays are just 9%, and AC/DC cabling 21%. And in this balance of system costs, there lies the greatest savings potential. And this is where the Tauro is particularly good at. You will see in a minute. So we have the investment costs, we have the operating costs, and the investment costs, they also consist of the BOS, of the balance of system costs, and those are the costs we have influence on and where we can achieve savings. Yeah, let's take a look at our product, at the Fronius Tauro. And as you will see, I'm going step by step through all those chapters, those pillars of cost calculation, and will also always refer to the Tauro, how costs can be cut. But we will start not with the costs, but with maximizing revenue. So how does the Tauro help to maximize revenue? And it is doing this by two things, we can say. So first of all, a long durability. Our products, they are expected to run at least 20 years. And this is a promise we are giving you, but it's not just a catchphrase, it's not just a promise, it's also something that we can prove to deliver. And you see here on the right-hand side, this is a picture of one of our customers. And this customer has installed our first inverters from 1995, the Fronius Sunrise. Maybe some of you, they still know them. And those Fronius Sunrise, they are running since 1995 and they are still doing so. So after almost 30 years, those inverters still work and are still producing electricity. Of course, those are residential inverters and we are talking about commercial inverters. But overall, what I want to emphasize is the principle: our products, they are made to be running more than 20 years. Also, and this is also something you will see later on, our products are made to repair and made to service. So we are taking care of that the components of the inverters, they can be exchanged separately. So this is one thing, and the other thing, so one thing is durability, and the other thing is maximized running hours. The more hours the inverter is running, the more electricity it is producing. The more electricity it produces, the more profit a PV owner can make. And inverters, they have one big enemy, and this enemy is heat. And heat because it is not good for the components, but heat also because the power has to be derated once temperature is getting too high. The Fronius Tauro has active cooling, and this active cooling means there's a fan on the cover that is sucking in cold air, is cooling the system, and the hot air is let out on the sides. And by doing this, the components are cooled. So again, longer durability, but also running hours are extended. Sun is shining, it is hot. Other inverters, they need to shut down or they need at least to reduce their production. Our inverters, our Tauro is still running. Also, the Fronius Tauro has this double wall concept. What is this? Double wall concept means it has two covers, and in between those covers, there is some air that is used as an isolation. And in this way, even if the sun shines directly on the Tauro, still temperature is minimized on the inside. So as you might know, you can install our Tauro not only in indoor, but also outdoor and also in sunlight. And this double wall concept makes it that that even when sunlight is shining on the Tauro, that still the temperature is kept low inside. And we did here some calculations, and we found out that we can reduce with this double wall concept the temperature inside up to 13.5 degrees. And yeah, as I said, this leads to a longer durability, longer running hours. So this is to maximizing revenue, but also we want to minimize costs. And now we're taking a look at the capital expenses, so the investment costs. How can the Fronius Tauro minimize those investment costs? This can be done by very flexible design. Our Tauro can be installed as central system design and decentral system design. What is the difference? Central design means that all the inverters, they are gathered together in a container, for example. They are not located directly at the modules, but besides the module field and close to the transformer. This means that AC cabling is minimized, so the DC cabling, they are coming from the modules. Easy transportation and easy access to those inverters because they're outside of the module field, and module strings are collected via, as I said, via the DC combiner boxes, and then they're connected to the inverter via larger DC cables. Decentral system design, on the other hand, means that the inverter is installed directly at the modules. So the inverters, they are distributed across the PV plant, and the module strings, they are connected directly to the inverter. And in this case, no DC combiner boxes are necessary. So when to use which system? We recommend to use the decentralized, the centralized system if the distance between modules and the transformation frame is large, and if this is small, then the decentralized design is better. You can order the Tauro with whatever features you wish to, and also depending on centralized or decentralized system, you will see that the Tauro looks a bit different. With the central system design, you see integrated V-clamps on the DC side for cable cross sections up to 95 square millimeters. With the decentral system design, you see integrated MC4 plugs for direct connections of the module strings. Please note also string fuses are integrated. So again, a lot of flexibility in the design for the Tauro, depending on how your system should look like. If you're going for the decentralized system, then you can save costs by AC-DC chaining. So the Tauro can do AC-DC chaining. You can connect the Tauro with each other, and you do not need AC cables from each inverter to the main distribution frame. Our inverters, they can be AC-DC chained up to 200 kilowatt, and you can do this, for example, with 2 times 100 kilowatt Tauro, 4 times 50 kilowatt Tauro, or what is also possible, to connect Tauros with snap inverters. So also possible is to connect a 100 kilowatt Tauro with 2 20 kilowatt snap inverters, for example. And in the graphic below, you see how much cable you can save, or the principle behind it. So you do not need cable 200 meters for one inverter, 150 meters for another, again 100 meter cables for another. You can connect them with each other and just need 50 meter cable from one inverter to the other. And besides that, this also goes to flexible system design. SPT type 1+2 is already integrated in the device. You see here a picture on the right hand side. So with the Fronius Tauro, no additional boxes required. You can install those SPD systems directly in the device. Again, this is a high quality SPD, and it is exchangeable at any time. This is set to the investment costs. And last point, we are looking at the operational costs. So how does the Tauro help minimizing costs that are occurring during production while the system is running? And this is mainly done by the unique service process that is offered with the Fronius Tauro. So you see here a picture on the right hand side of the Tauro, and every component you see in the picture can be exchanged. On the left hand side, for example, you see the power units, and those power units, they can be, each of them can be exchanged, and this can be done by only one person. One power unit weighs around 25 kilograms. So one person, I have to admit, one strong person can take this power unit, can take it out of the system, take in the new one, and get the system running again. Fast and easy service. The Tauro can be left at the place where it is. So for service, for reparation, you do not need a crane. You can just exchange single components. Yeah, and as I said in the beginning, so let's sum it up quickly, how the Tauro is helping minimizing costs, maximizing revenue. So maximizing revenue by long durability, 20 years plus, extended running hours thanks to active cooling and the double wall concept. So the power derating is expected to happen much later than with other products. It minimizes system costs, so those are the investment costs, flexible system design depending on your demands, very cost efficient AC cabling through AC-DC chaining if the decentral concept is chosen. And also we have integrated overvoltage protection, SPT type 1+2. And as I said a minute ago, it helps minimizing operating costs. The service is done by one person, no crane is needed, and the Tauro can be left in the location where it is. As promised in the beginning, after you got to know the business concept behind, after you got to know the advantages of the Tauro, we will take a look at a case study. And I have to say in the beginning, this case study was done 3 years ago in 2020. We took a PV system of one of our customers, and this customer is located in Greece. And this customer was building a PV system, as you can see, on an undeveloped area for investment purposes. The open space offered space for 800 kilowatt AC, and due to local conditions, a decentralized system was implemented. The average distance to the transformer is 55 meters. So this Greek investor, he did this PV system with the Fronius Tauro, and colleagues of mine, they took a look into this PV system and compared the costs that would occur if this Greek investor had done it with competitors' products. I have to admit, the prices since 2020, they probably have changed, but what I want to show you is the principle behind it, and you will see just to give you a feeling for how much money you can save just by the features that the Tauro is offering. So we begin here with the overall costs. So you see here the overall costs of all of those products. On the very right hand side, you see the Fronius Tauro, Eco decentralized with AC-DC chaining, and the other 4 bars, those are competitors. Overall, the Fronius Tauro solution offers the lowest costs compared to competitor 3 by a lot, compared to the others, probably to competitor 4 by a little, but our product was with lowest cost overall. The yellow color, these are the inverter costs. As you can see, the inverter costs, this is not everything. There are several other factors that comes into play in this cost calculation. What is stunning is the small amount of red color in the Fronius bar. The red color signals the service costs. And here we are by far number 1. You see service costs for the Fronius Tauro were only almost 2,000 euros. For the competitors, it was almost 5 times this amount you see here. Also, we did a lot of saving in the, you see in the blue color. The blue color, this is the cost of AC cabling. AC-DC chaining, as I said, saves a lot of money. This was also the case here. This dark blue you see also with competitor 3. This is the SPD. The additional SPDs that in this system was needed. It's not needed for us. So SPD is already integrated. So biggest asset, low service costs. And let me go a little bit deeper into this service costs. You see here just the service costs, same competitors and same PV system. In our case, no crane is needed for doing service costs. So this gray part that was necessary for all the competitors is not necessary with us. So this is going away. And then you see the driving costs is also much less. By driving costs, we mean the amount of people and the amount of travels that are needed to do this replacement, to do the service. And this is in the case of Fronius much less, because you can exchange several components with only one person than with the other competitors. And also the service costs itself, so the amount of hours that are needed is less than with the competitors. And overall, the comparison of service costs, you see that we are by far the lowest. And finally, I want to show you the BOS costs. BOS costs, you remember, these are the costs that are necessary, the investment costs that are necessary for the system, except for the inverter. You see with AC-DC chaining, you see that we need a lot less of AC cables. This is the blue part. In our case, the blue part is almost 4,000 euros. And in the other cases with our competitors, almost need double of this amount. On the right-hand side, you also see on the very right-hand side, you see also the Fronius Tauro Eco, so the same product, but without AC-DC chaining. And this should give you a feeling that how much money you can save with AC-DC chaining. So if you use the same system with the same inverter, same Fronius inverter, but without AC-DC chaining, then you see that the blue bar is much larger. So due to AC-DC chaining, low cable costs. So let me sum it up. The Fronius Tauro Eco is probably not the cheapest product on the market, but it still helps you saving costs, and this is something you should remember. It has low service costs. AC-DC chaining is a very good option for saving money, and also a very flexible system design that you can choose especially for your demands. We are already coming to the end of this webinar. I hope it was interesting for you, and I hope that you heard something that can help you in the future. The recording of this webinar will be forwarded in the next days. Please also remember, you can anytime sign or register for another Fronius webinar or for a training, and you can do this on our homepage. Also, very recommended is a visit to our YouTube channel. There you find recorded webinars, but also how-to videos that might also, in a very uncomplicated way, help you. Perfect. Let me just take a look at our questions. I see we didn't receive any questions. All good. Let me think, is there anything I have to add? I don't think so. So yeah, if nothing else is at your heart and no questions occur to your mind, then thank you very much for joining this webinar. It was a pleasure for me, and I'm very happy to welcome you in one of the next trainings or in one of the next webinars. Other than that, please enjoy the rest of the day. See you next time. Bye-bye.